How's it going, everyone? Hope you're all well. In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at my latest project, which happens to be a new concrete mixer. New to me, definitely not new. Actually so far from new that it was debatable whether it would actually be saved or whether we'd just scrap it. Here she is, the new mixer. As I say, it's new to me, obviously not new. There's actually quite a few bits and pieces on this trailer at the moment, so I probably should have unloaded it and then talked about it, but yeah, I didn't. Main plan with this is the bottom's all rotted off, as you'll see. It currently has no drawbar, it's just got a handlebar. So the plan is to put bigger tyres, car or standard trailer tyres on it, new drawbar, and then can be hooked on the ute or whatever, towed to the job, and that means it frees up the trailer for actually putting builder's mix on and all the rest of it. So yeah, here she is in her current form. As you can see, actually this wheel's not actually too bad, but the other side is on, as you can see, tyres completely stuffed. This is the bottom part of the frame here is all full of rust, and this timber's all rotted out at the end the motor sits on. Currently powered by this electric motor, which I was told it was going the last time it went, but I'm not holding a whole lot of hope for that actually running, because it spent most of its life outside, so I don't actually know if that's going to run. But anyway, we've got another tyre, second-hand tyre. Oh, it's a bit on the bad side on the back. Front of it's not too bad. I'm hoping they'll just clean up. Yeah, it's still kind of holding air, so I have a bit of hope for that. Worst case, you know, buy a new one, rim and tyre roughly. Well, new rim, second-hand tyre's about $100, so not the end of the world. But if every bit I can save, will just be mint. So these old tyres and this drawbar here, which I'll show you in a sec, all came off an old trailer that was also pegged in the hedge. So when I grabbed the mixer, I had planned on just buying all new steel and axle and all the rest of it, and then I stumbled across this old trailer and thought, well, hey, why not just cut that up, salvage what I can, and then reuse it on this just to save a bit of coin and all the rest of it. So yeah, that old trailer was just doing nothing, going to be scrapped anyway, so if I can salvage a bit, you know, hey, why not? Kind of all about repurposing and reusing around here. So yeah, that'll be to be determined how well those rims clean up and all the rest of it. One of the rims has got a big hole in it, so that'll be to the scrapper. Well, actually multiple big holes, so that'll be going in the scrap. One of the tyres I don't think fits, so kind of got 4 tyres, only 2 are going to work, and I think only 2 work anyway, so the others will just go. Tyres that are on it, yep, they're gone. Yeah, here's this rim and tyre. Unfortunately doesn't fit, because that would have looked badass if I had two Trident rims on it. It would have been, but doesn't fit, so I'm just gonna have to sell that one. This one here's completely shot. There's a hole here, and there's 2 or 3 big holes on the other side of the rim, and I mean tyres stuffed and the rest of it, but the one below it is actually sweet, so I'll use that one and the one on the back hopefully. Great thing about this here though is it's got this big safety shroud around the belt, yeah, which is quite good. You know, when you're mixing loading concrete and you've got guys there and, you know, that belt's flapping around and all exposed, this is all concealed, so that's a major win with it. But like the main crux of the mix is actually really good, and like this whole barrel is sweet. But really it's just about re-welding this subframe, putting the axle, the drawbar in there, and then putting a new axle in it up there, which is the axle here that I've got for it currently. The main thing is these hubs are sweet. There's no play in the bearings at all. Threads are all mint. There's no rust. So I'll be using them. It's just this axle. I don't know whether you can see here, but it's got a massive bend in it here. Someone's obviously hit something they shouldn't have, or I don't know what, but backed into something. It's fairly corroded on top, but if it cleans up alright, I may end up just cutting out this bent section, re-welding it, and then strapping it either side, which is what I'm half tempted to do, just to save a bit more coin. Got a whole lot of angle steel and stuff in here on the trailer that can be used for stuff, different bits of plate and all that, which I could use to start piecing it back together. But yeah, this is just knackered, and it's not, I mean, you probably could get new tyres for those rims, but again, it's just not really worth it considering all this is rot out, and yeah, just a whole lot of nasty in there. So, but the main bit's good, main bit's mint. So now it's off the trailer and the trailer's out of the way, it's a bit easier to see what we're actually dealing with. And now she's suspended in the air too, we can get under it and have a proper look. Yeah, this here is what the big problem is. As you can see, there is just so much corrosion there that like none of that is salvageable. It's probably salvageable, the old number plate holder. But yeah, the rest of it, and those bearings actually still kind of spin. That wheel and that one. Should be able to make something good out of that. I mean, as it is right now, it actually would work. Like, I've been told the motor works, but I'll plug it in and test it, but it would still work. It's just the fact that it's immobile. I can lift it up with my crane and put it on the back of my ute and use it off there if I get stuck, but that isn't really ideal. It's not super heavy either, like 2-man lift, but I'd love it if I could just tow it around, push it around on site, like so much easier, because before we used to have to use it on that pallet and lift it around with a tractor, and like the pallets are always rotting out, and it's, yeah, just a big pain in the butt. Yeah, so I'll show you the drawbar and what I got planned for the engine, how it's going to be powered. So yeah, here's the repower package. 196cc petrol engine. Incidentally, it's the same engine that I have on my plate compactor and concrete power float. So that's great for parts and air filters and all the rest of it, because it's basically swap on, swap off. This is actually brand new. It's just been sitting in the shed for a bit, hence a bit of the corrosion and whatnot on it. But that there is going to go straight on the back of that mixer. The thing I'm going to do with this though is make a quick on-off release, so that when I'm storing the mixer, because chances are the mixer's going to live outside, so I don't really want to have this outside as well. So the idea being that the quick release will just pull out a pin and lift the whole back of the motor assembly off, so I don't have to try and like unbolt these little bolts. And if someone wants to borrow it, it's just, here you go, here's the engine, slide the bolt in, drop in the pin, away you go. So that's roughly it. Engine, bang. Axle, bang. New steel for the frame and the drawbar, something like that. Right, how's it going? So we'll just do a quick update. I've been hacking away here and blasting away with the welder for a while, so starting to get somewhere. We've got something that resembles kind of what we're going for. So I'll spin around and show you what the go is. Got these side runners cut, ready to go. I've just set the wheels here because I'm just trying to work out where best for them to go. Basically because I don't want the mixer being too long and narrow, and then it's likely to try and roll on me. This here's what I've decided will be the section for the motor. Gives me about a 450 area. Motor will sit here. I'm thinking I'm going to do a timber cradle that the engine will sit on. That way I can more easily unbolt it and lift it off. But yeah, as you can see, These are all welded in now, these side ones. Yeah, so plan is tomorrow we clean these up, weld them on, and then weld on this end one, cut this and then weld it on. Weld another one in here, obviously not that, it'll be a longer one, but in here, and then to receive the timber for this cradle, and then probably build the cradle so I can mount the engine. Right, so it's a couple of days later. I thought I'd give you a quick update. I've just been hacking away at this after work, doing a little bit every night, and I've sort of worked out a whole lot of stuff really, how it's going to work and finish up. So as you can see, we've now got the motor on. It's not actually permanently on here, but I've just mocked up how it's all going to sit. You can see in there it's sitting on the pulley. So that works, it's at the right height. So basically it's 150 mils from the bottom of this angle steel up to here is where it sits to put a good amount of tension on there. As you can see, it kind of sits up a little bit. So once it's actually bolted down, that'll pull that pulley nice and tight. Good clearance all around in here. This is kind of the angle frame that I'm doing, just sort of protect the motor a bit, and then add a bit of support here at the back, because once the weight comes on with the axle, you know, it'll stop any of that. Axle's going to sit somewhere over here. There's the tyre, for example. So I don't want the tyre sitting back past there, and this is kind of where most of the weight is. So yeah, I'll try and sit the axle in here somewhere. It's the strongest part of the whole thing, so it can go in here. Yeah, it's only tacked on at the moment, but yeah, and these are just sitting here. But I need to clean up the edges, cut those angles, and get them ready to fab up, and then I'll go through and weld it all in. Again, this is all just tacked in here, but got these this section here, which this bit here, so that this is where the uprights are going in here, and the angle. So this bit of angle will also have these little spaces. Obviously it's not going to be cut on an angle, I'll cut it square, and then plop these little spaces in here. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, basically that should just give it a bit more support in that little section there. And then I'll do this little cradle out of timber. In other news, pump these tyres up, but they are no good, as you can see. I'm just pushing on them. Yeah, the other one's actually far worse, so those tyres no good. So I'll just use them for a start as a temporary tyre until I get new ones, just for pushing around site. But yeah, they're cooked, and I think the rims aren't that great. Well, that rim there, actually, to be fair, is good clean up, and that'll probably become the spare. But I'll get two new tyres and rims for it, since I'm going all this effort. Like, there's no point having it if it's got dodgy tyres and I can't take it anywhere. So. Right, so this back part's all fabbed up now. I've tack welded these on. So yeah, this cage is all kind of made. I've got these cut for the base of the motor, and then I've got 2 planks to go on top. Bang bang, tack the motor on, and yeah, I'm gonna take this off now, weld it together. We actually need it in a couple of days, so I've got to really get this done, but mainly just this back bit, get the motor on, and then it's good enough to use just on skids as it is. So I'm not going to put that cross member in and stuff until I do the drill bar, that to get the finish weld it, and then paint that back end, get that motor on, and then she should be running. So I'll just chuck on time lapse and get it done. Right, so just an update before I bolt the motor on, because it'll be too hard to see it afterwards. I've got all this mounted in. I haven't welded the subframe in yet, but I thought it'd be easier to bolt this all up first and mock it up, and then I'll weld that in place because that's all tacked together now. Just give it a quick grind up and then she'll be welded in. But yeah, this is all bolted in. Obviously I'll just undo those, take it out, weld that in, and then bolt it back, give it all the paint, and then yeah. But this is the system, so these stick up, and then on the back of the base I've routed out where all that stuff is, where all the heads of the bolts and that are over there, so that when this sits down on it, it sits flush, and then the engine's here. And then this whole piece is what lifts off with the motor. So that's that. It's not the prettiest, but it's not seen, and it's just got to be flush. So yeah, I'll throw the engine on, bolt her up, and then give it a fire up and see if it goes. Hopefully it goes, because we've got concrete tomorrow, and yeah, I kind of need it to work. It actually went on pretty good. Pretty easy, first try. There's a good amount of tension on that pulley. It's not too tight, but it's not too loose. What I've actually done is I've packed the engine slightly off the angle with 2 washers. That's kicked it up a bit, because it was, when it sat flat, it was too tight on the pulley. Then as time over time, as the pulley stretches, you can take those out. We'll put those bolts in to hold it on there, and then we'll fire it up and get it spinning, hopefully. And just fingers crossed that the engine's not too powerful for the mixer. That's the thing that isn't being determined yet. So all this work could have been for nothing. Well, not really, because I can just put the electric motor back on, worst case. But nice to have that going. Right, so I'll do that now, and then we'll fire her up. Running. There's supposed to be a clutch on that, so it technically shouldn't be spinning at that low RPM. But it's spinning. Oh yeah. Man. Sounds like she's going to fly apart, but it's spinning. Look it works. Not sure why that clutch isn't engaging. When it's idling along at low revs, you can put your hand on the shaft at the end and actually stop it, and the engine won't stop. That's when it'll engage the clutch. So I'm thinking there's not enough low pressure on it to engage the clutch, because if it's running and you stop the barrel and hold that, it just spins on the pulley. So there's obviously not enough resistance there to actually grab the shaft and stop it. But it doesn't seem to hinder it turning over, and even if there was material in this, I'm confident it would still turn over, so that's a win. I am going to throw some more bolts in here ASAP, because I can listen to that rattling all day. That'd drive me insane. I'm short 1 engine mount bolt, because I got 3 long ones and 1 short one. I don't know why I did that, but that's all good, so I'll get those. A couple of little bits, but other than that, I'd say it's pretty good to go. Pretty stoked with how that's turned out, to be honest. That is running mint. Actually looks the part too. It just looks like it's meant to be like that, like it's always been like that. Once I put the wheels on and the drawbar, yeah, it'll be an absolute weapon. The next mission now is to clean this workshop, because it is an absolute dive in here. There is just stuff everywhere. What happens when you're tackling projects after work and in every spare hour you've got, you kind of just, things get in a state and you don't really have the time to clean it up. So clean this up, need to blow out all this dust, because now there's all this wood dust from when I was doing this engine mount. We don't want to start any fires in here when I'm welding, because it's the next phase is to weld that frame back on, well, on, and then finish up this front bit and the main chassis. Paint those welds as well, because it's going outside tomorrow. So if I can get all that just primed, that's one of these things to do later anyway. I'm going to clean up all this crap that I'm not using, and then give the shit a blow up. Get rid of this carpet for now too, because the amount of holes I've burnt in it over the last few days is just savage. You might be able to see there, I've burnt a big hole there and a big stripe through there and that. So, yeah, and it just reeks when you burn that. Not only that, but it's just a pain in the ass. So I'll get that out. Right, so I've just whipped the back guard off where the pulley is. Pulley doesn't look too bad condition. You can see there's a bit of rot in here, which I kind of knew about from the other side. I'll just leave that for now. If that gets worse over time, I'll whip it off and do something. Some of the nuts on the back here have rusted off where the bolt goes through. This one here and that one there, yeah, they're all pretty rusted, to be fair. That's gone. I think that's the only good one. So I'm gonna have to re-weld nuts on the back of there, but yeah, there's still quite a bit to do, like fix these cross braces. You know, these are all rotted out, and now that I squared the whole thing up, this one's too long, so I'll be cutting these out and redoing them. Probably do the same on the other side, maybe. They're not too bad, they're just a little bit long, and it's kind of pushing this part of it out. As you can see, there's a deficit here. See how it's sticking out? So that needs to be in a bit more, and you can actually see it when you look at the front. It sticks out like that, kind of shoots out. But yeah, that's all kind of minor stuff in the grand scheme of it. That's sort of getting it a bit perfect, but it sort of becomes a case of where to draw the line. But yeah, I'd like to tidy those things up since I'm doing it, because I don't really plan on doing it again. That's the thing. So yeah, like all good projects, they always end up going bigger than you first set out, but it's all part of the fun. Be nice to get this apart and actually be able to clean that all up and paint it up, because as it is, it's a bit substandard like that. So I'd like to get that all cleaned up and painted. But so now I'm just going to take the engine back off, weld this in place, paint up my welds. We're still going to do a bit of grinding on it and that, but paint it all up, and then yeah, be good for tomorrow. I got a bit of welding to do on the chassis at the front there though, to finish that, so we don't have any breakages there. Yeah, as I say, getting a couple bolts, bolt that back on, and when I'm getting those, I'll get the other engine bolted on, fuel it up with new fuel, and away we go. So right, there we go, she's all loaded up on the back of the truck. Decided not to film that because wasn't sure exactly how that was going to go. Thought it could be a disaster, because I couldn't quite get enough lift on the crane to get it to clear the deck. But that thing, lifesaver. So it looks a bit huckery-dory, that slidey thing. Without it, would not have been possible, because I need to get my truck in further than I possibly could have the mixer. I had to swing the mixer out to the side so I could get the truck in, and then swing the mixer back on. Also meant I could spin it around and slide it, and then just wiggle it on without being able to move stuff side to side. Not be possible. So yeah, I really want to spend some time on that and get that finished, because yeah, it'd be such an asset if when it's going. But also, this will be so much easier when this thing's on wheels, because at the moment it's admin. You know, it's just an extra thing to have to do to load it on the back of the truck or load it on the trailer. Whereas if it's got its own wheels, you just hook it on and go to the job. So yeah, that about does it for today's video, guys. Yeah, feel free to like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And yeah, if you're enjoying it, stay tuned for part 2, where we'll test this mixer out, mix this floor, and yeah, see how we get on. Might get some wheels on it or something, who knows. Otherwise, yeah, that'll be part 3.